It's pronounced Jordan. That's the name of the segment. Jeremy Henderson with the War Eagle Reader joining us. Try not to break anything.
Yeah, it's not doing that well. I pulled something off.
That's okay. That's all right. We'll get some super glue and fix that here. Get some super glue and duct tape. We'll get that back together. Don't worry about it. All right. So very fun story about Auburn fraternity brothers calling the King. I'm sorry. So what's
right.
What's next on the docket here?
All this is timely, I suppose. If not, well, I guess topical is the kind of thing. Anyway, with all the back and forth about vandalism these days, you might have heard that Tumors Oaks were poisoned.
Yes.
And
I recall a story about that.
And then and it goes back and forth, because that was payback for putting the jersey on, and then that was and back and forth and back and forth. Well, so back in the day, there was some hardcore pranking going on. I mean, we get all we get offended at some like a sticker or something being put on.
Right.
I mean, this was like common practice, back then. I'm talking raids on campuses, and so
stuff that people would probably get thrown in jail for now.
Right, yeah. Hardcore. I mean, vandalism. I mean, this is a real deal. It's not like get a photo op with like a pose with an Auburn hat on a Bear Bryant statue and then like put it on the. I mean, this is
We're not talking about arson, are we?
No.
I mean, I don't know what the statute of limitations is. I don't want to get anybody in any trouble.
Not arson.
Okay.
But there paint was involved with this one, and I found these in Dean Foy's collection of stuff.
Oh, really?
Right down, and and he actually Dean Foy went to Alabama.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that,
and I don't. We
he
don't
recovered.
like to talk about.
He
recovered well. He recovered better than anybody.
Can I tell you? He spent his entire life trying to do penance for that.
No, exactly.
For that one miscalculation in his life.
No, and I've just now forgave him.
Yeah.
It took a while. No, but he was
a little extra
Auburn
time
fan.
in purgatory.
He was a huge Auburn fan, growing up, and everything. And his uncles were like on the first team and all this stuff. And it was somehow the family moved like during the Depression or pre-Depression or something. They had to move, and so they were in Tuscaloosa. Anyway, there's a story to it. It's never justified, but at least he has an excuse. So, anyway, so he, right after the time period we're talking about, like we just were with the late 40s and everything, the renewal of the rivalry, tensions were high.
Yes,
and so
have they ever been low?
Well, I mean, they were on the lookout, for things. We're talking like the watchtowers that Tumors kind of look at. Like we're going to be vigilant about stuff coming on, and so they get a letter. Foy gets a letter from his University of Alabama counterpart.
Okay.
Right? The following was painted on the campus of the University of Alabama last night. Now, this is on November 24th, 1953, the week leading up. No identity of persons doing the painting. Words painted were Auburn, API, Tigers, War Eagle. Painting was found this morning at 4 o'clock. Painting in front of the Union. Paint on the ground. Paint on the steps. Paint on the abutment. Paint on the chimes. Denny Chimes.
Denny Chimes got some Auburn paint on him.
Wow. On the door and the walkways. Initials API. API on east sidewalk by the post office. Paint on the law building. On the door. Can you imagine the law building? That's going. I mean, the law building.
Y'all, this is like having a big Alabama scripted A on the door to Sanford Hall.
I mean, this is hardcore.
I do not condone that behavior, by the way.
Right. Well,
thank you, Rich.
I'm just putting that out there.
Now, at the university, they are talking it down, working through the fraternity and the student body, trying to prevent retaliation. Is noble of them.
Yeah.
Back when they didn't care about retaliation.
60 years later.
Right. This is exactly.
However,
good God.
Have your photo made with the retaliator.
Yeah, exactly right.
The retaliator. That'll be the chapter.
Maybe that should be his new name. We've got the blessed individual and the retaliator. I think we may have just coined something.
I'm the retaliator. That was horrible.
It's not a doom.
All right. Paint used. Oil paint. Colors. Now this is odd. The colors used. Pea green.
Uh-oh.
Pink and gray.
Interesting. Maybe it was
that's what they had.
Well, this is kind of interesting, right? So
for their grandfather's garage.
Right, exactly. Only thing you had on hand.
It was the only thing that was at the Auburn. What is it? The
Auburn Hardware.
The Auburn Hardware downtown that they raided because one of the kids worked there.
A car. The following description was seen near the scene of the painting. 52 Mercury, color light tan with blue top. Tag number 38. A full report will be made later. Any information will be sent.
That's my Uncle George's car. Holy cow!
Now, how did he communicate that to Dean Foy?
It was a letter. It was a letter.
It was a letter. So
a letter.
All right. So a letter had to take.
I'm
guessing 2 days to get there.
Believe it or not, it got pretty quick back then. I always see letters, and I'm like, oh, this must be like a week or 2 weeks. These people responded to letters quick. I'm talking.
No, it was
like,
the primary form of communication.
Right.
Probably more than even telephone calls.
Right. Yeah, that's what you had to do. Well, so Dean Foy responds the next day. All right. Dear Dean Noble, Hendrick, dear Noble, they were cordial. They were friendly pals.
They were cordial.
They were first name basis. Greetings, salutations, and best wishes.
Nice. Nice.
Again, I would like to express our deep embarrassment that there has been painting at the university this year. We're making every effort to determine whether any of our students were involved.
Wait a minute. This year?
This year, right now, again.
Okay, now this indicates that maybe this had happened multiple times.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was like a weekly. This is weekly. I mean, there was.
We regret that this has happened again.
Right.
We're greetings and salutations.
Greeting and best
like
wishes.
Best wishes.
We're making every effort to determine whether any of our students were involved, and if so, who they were. Henry called me about the matter yesterday morning. I think it's very unusual.
Who's Henry?
I don't know. Henry. I don't know Henry. Like Dr. John Day. Henry.
Who knows?
I think it is very unusual for Auburn students to use green, pink, and gray paint. It's also unusual.
It's called deflection. Deflection.
Well, Foy's being like, oh, this is so horrible. But no, this is where it gets kind of interesting.
Maybe this is Bama people that are trying to make Auburn people look bad.
Rich.
No, I'm sorry.
Right in the story, Rich.
Kill it. All right, I'm sorry.
I think, it's also unusual for oil paint to be used rather than tempera, water-based paint. We're not stupid up there. That's it. A third thing which rings a little untrue is the use of the term API. Most students don't use that as a rally cry. It is possible, however, that our students were to blame. We would like very much to know the identity of such person so that we may take appropriate action. Last night, about 6:30, we had a call from a student at the university saying the university students plan to come to Auburn. I immediately called you and finding you out of town, called Henry Syker. Okay, Henry Syker. Somebody find out who Henry Syker is. We then mobilized our forces into watching teams. Dean Foy had this squad of kind of this goody two-shoe, Justice League that he could send out. They straight up, it was almost like a bat phone kind of thing.
Wonder Twin powers,
and they would call,
activate.
And half the time, the people that
form
he would,
of an ice tiger, shape of
and
a water eagle.
Half the time, half the time, the people he was calling for this thing, it was like for student leaders and everything that he would call out. Let's say you got a panty raid going on, right? He would call these guys
just
to be
for
like,
instance.
Just for instance.
Well,
okay.
No, here's the thing. I interviewed. Yeah. I've got a letter to one of the people. It was like official correspondence. Like, you have been tapped. Like you have been chosen. One of the things I interviewed him, right? And I'm asking about some certain things that went on in panty raid kind of stuff. And one of how we
that didn't have anything to do with the site or anything. You just wanted to know. I understand.
Right. No, this is way before the site.
Oh, sure.
It was like 20 years ago. When I was 12. But he called and he said, I'm talking, what would you do with this kind of stuff? And he goes, well, the first thing you understand is my background is psychosocial crowd control.
Psychosocial crowd control.
You take away a man's anonymity, you take away his effectiveness to the mob.
That's awesome.
I swear.
Is that a quote?
Yes.
He really said that?
That is a direct quote.
Oh, my God.
Because he would get out in the middle of these things if there was stuff going, and he would, spotlight them with a flashlight and be like, Billy Jenkins, I know your dad. And then that would make them, shame them into oh, I better not go raid the dorm.
He basically pulled a To Kill a Mockingbird on him.
I guess. What is that? No, I know what you're talking about. Euphemism.
No, it's not a euphemism. All right. In the classic Harper Lee novel, To Kill a Mockingbird, there is a scene where the townspeople come to the jail to lynch
Oh, right.
All right?
Right.
And
Dean Foy was
and her dad was sitting there, and he had told her to go home, but she would not leave because she was afraid that they were going to hurt her daddy. And they were all out there, and they were getting ready to go. And then she started calling him out. Oh, hey, Mr. So-and-so.
Yeah,
it's good to see you again.
Right.
We thank you for dropping off those peaches.
Scout.
So
she totally scouted him.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. See, that wasn't nuts.
Would scout
that was
him.
a partner. That was a pertinent. I brought it today.
You bring it.
Thank you. Thank you.
This
wasn't one of those times,
would
but apparently, occasionally I do.
And this isn't.
You don't know anything about
things,
high ankle sprains, do you, Jeremy? Sorry, that was totally out of whack.
But so he had this squad.
He had the squad.
He mobilizes the squad, right?
Okay.
To go out and keep watch and everything. So he's like, wait a second,
are we talking about painting or painting raids? What are we talking about?
This is the painting now, but this is the kind of squad that would be used. He brought this with him. This was one of his things: psychosocial crowd control. Right. So listen to the language here. We then mobilized our forces into watching teams. At about 1:30 a.m., we stopped a 1953 Blue Oldsmobile, tag number 63, 108. There were 6 university students in the car. University.
So this is the car?
6 university students in the car who admitted painting "Go Bama" on the front entrance of Magnolia Hall in the Textile Engineering Building. There was red paint on the hands of the driver, a law student, 2 cans of red enamel paint, and a paintbrush all in the car. The names of the students are as follows. Blah, 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 blah. I blocked them out. I don't know why. I should have gone with it. I'll scout them, man.
If one of them's named Updike, I'm going up.
Are you kidding? University student? Come on, man.
Well played, my friend. Well played.
We told the students we would report their names to you after giving them a cup of coffee and returning to their car. We were very much dismayed to find War Eagle written on it. Yeah. They parked outside.
While they were in there giving them a cup of coffee.
It was a total ploy. Come on in and get some coffee.
We're going to play War Eagle in your car.
Zeke. Go out there.
That is awesome.
War Eagle written on it. Luckily, the paint was tempera paint, and we watched. That is how you pronounce it, right? Tempera.
Yeah.
And we washed it off in good fashion before they left for their return trip to the university. There was one other car, a black Chevrolet, on the campus. We feel this car was from the university, but we were unable to get the tag number. Again, let me say how sorry I am about the painting incident, both at the university and here. All the best, sincerely yours, Dean Foy. Okay, so, right. So a few days later,
all right.
This is big. This is a big bit. On November 25th, this is actually the same day.
Okay.
Right. So in I think this is Birmingham Post Herald.
Okay. Ron has to go because he's going to watch his son play basketball.
106.5.
Yes.
FM.
Dude, he may not be able to.
You're not going
to. If he does not drive into a bridge abutment on the way, on the way to Montgomery, it'll be a miracle.
That was my favorite. So, it says an energetic paint dauber gave the University of Alabama campus some quick and unusual decorations in an early morning visit. Bama students gasped to see such signs as War Eagle, Auburn API, and lurid paint adorning lurid. Famed Denny Chimes, blah, 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 blah. University police were baffled. They said the paint job must have been done between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. Now, here we go. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Dean Foy kind of knew what was up, right? And sure enough, the first theory was that the prank was part of a pregame rivalry between Auburn and Alabama, which meet at Legion Field in Birmingham Saturday. But later, members of the university police force said they believed the deed was done by a prankish Bama student.
Busted!
Painting their own campus.
See, this is the levels that they stoop to.
Cast aspersions
on good, upstanding tempera paint using.
Tempera paint. We're not going to use a pea green. The name
oil-based?
The name of the post was the case of the pea green tigers or something like that.
Oh, that is just awesome.
Whoever it was did a pretty amateurish job, one officer said. And it's probably one of those things like you don't want to, to make it look bad, you don't want to beat up your own, you're trashing your own house to make it, you don't want to really mess it up. Whoever it was,
I have no idea what you're talking about. I got you.
When you try to frame, when you try to frame somebody,
right? When you're trying to con the insurance company, you don't want to make it look.
When you beat yourself up, you're like Updike. You know what I mean? He didn't want to hit himself too hard,
right? Exactly.
Whoever, it really is point. It all comes back. The more things change,
Let
man.
me tell you.
Whoever it was did a pretty amateurish job. One officer said, I believe that someone who had come all the way from Auburn would have painted a few more buildings. Nice. And here it is. They got this picture of these, Bama dudes sitting here squatting in front of Denny Chimes with a big old Auburn in front of the steps and API written on, I don't know, the door or whatever the heck it is. And anyway, so I've always just loved that thing.
That is hysterical.
I mean, this back and forth, and it turns out that there's some sort of self-loathing Bama fan is the one who, was the culprit.
That's awesome.
Groundhog Day. This is great, Rich, that you're doing this.
Thank you.
This is a service to cinema.
It's pronounced Jordan. Jeremy Henderson with the War Eagle Reader. So much fun. Jeremy, I have a ball every time you come in. I can't wait till next week.
Ditto. Neither can I.
It's going to be good times. And you can listen to this again on the War Eagle Reader when Jeremy puts it up at some point.
It'll happen soon.
Awesome. More of The Drive when we come back. Stick around.